monster men.
Arrgh! It's Scottish, it is. Keep it in with... I can't do it.
Still too heavy.
Still too heavy. You know what we're going to talk about today?
Scotch?
We could talk about Scotch.
We could talk about
Do you know why I'm wearing my special hat today?
No, but I can't wait to hear.
We're going hunting.
Ooh.
We are not going squatch? No. I'm leaving. Bobo was busy and I can't bring him out.
Well, you didn't go, whoo.
No.
Where are we hunting?
We're going to the Scottish Highlands. We're looking for Nessie.
Oh, Nessie.
I apologize. I think we both apologize that we've gone 40-something episodes without ever touching on the Loch Ness Monster.
The beauty of being a monster man, though, is there's so many topics to talk about that we just haven't got to it.
It's just incredible that the monster, with the word monster in its name, was not covered by the Monster Men yet.
Well,
so today,
Nessie.
We're going to talk about Nessie, the famous sea creature from the loch that has fascinated people forever. I'm going to play a little game with you.
I've got a very interesting tidbit for you. So you want to go first?
I've got a game. This is quick trivia, and you win absolutely nothing if you get it right.
Let me just jot down my things.
If you get it wrong, I'm going to punch you under the table.
Good boy.
Around what century was the first recorded sighting of Nessie?
Oh, I'm going to get hit. 18th.
Oh, off by about 1,000 years. 7th century.
Wow.
Is the first reported sighting in that loch of some sort of beast, or what they used to think it was kind of like a dragon back then. So it's been around a long, long time.
I love these kind of episodes because when you know stuff, it's like we did the Bigfoot episodes. I learned more. I saw a Bio Channel show about Bigfoot, and I'm going, I know that because I know you. So,
hey, I can help with Bigfoot lore.
Strap it in.
So I'm trying to do this now with the sea creature kind of thing going on there. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well,
hit me with your tidbit.
Familiar with the band Led Zeppelin?
All right. What about Led Zeppelin?
You ever seen the movie The Song Remains the Same?
Yes.
Okay, there's a scene where Jimmy Page is playing guitar along like a lake shore. And then he looks up and his like eyes are red.
Right.
Well, that's filmed at his house. He lived in Aleister Crowley's house.
Yes, I remember that.
That was on Loch Ness.
Really? No, I see. I didn't know that. I learned something new.
There you go.
Wow. Jimmy Page. What
so,
a life.
So there you go. Not Loch Ness Monster. Aleister Crowley, the head of the Church of Satan.
It's probably scared the hell out of the Loch Ness Monster.
Moby Dick!
What decade in the 20th century
We're going to get hit again.
did it really start to take off? Now, what decade do you think it kind of started taking a life of its own and becoming popularized?
I feel like the 60s.
No. The 30s.
When was that photo taken?
The surgeon's photo? That was in, I gotta say, 1936.
That was the
30s? Or
30s?
something like that, yeah.
Oh, see, I thought that was the 60s.
It was around the 30s, and that's the famous photo, and I'm sure that Jack will put it up here, of, you know, the Nessie's neck and the face. Now, here's the deal. When we were growing up, that was like the definitive shot of Nessie, right?
Yep.
And we saw it on In Search Of probably 77-ish, 78-ish,
yep.
Maybe. The funniest part is that photo was proven to be a hoax in 75.
In 75?
Yes, I thought it was.
Because I just saw something recently that showed that it was a hoax.
Yeah, it had been proven a hoax a long, long time ago.
It was like a flotation of
like a toy submarine thing that you put something up on top of. It was, I have it written down here, Dr. Wilson, who was the guy who photographed this thing. And it was a deathbed confession.
See, when I heard that, I immediately decided that the Bigfoot Patterson film was now in jeopardy because those were the two iconic images. So
yeah, that defines the Loch Ness Monster. But really, when you look at it, it's been photographed now. Who knows what's real and what's not? I mean, dozens of times and filmed and caught on sonar. There were so more. Remember, maybe it was 10 years back or so, where there was a picture of like a giant flipper that some scientific expedition had caught.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, oh, well, it has to be a plesiosaur, which is what they think it's like a plesiosaur, which is kind of like a brontosaurus under the water.
Well, there's one school of thought that it's like a brontosaurus-y looking thing.
Yeah.
Another that thinks it's a snaky kind of thing.
They're like a type of eel. They think it's also the giant eels, a type of seal, some sort of deformed seal. But it can't be one. When you it has to be a family.
Perhaps it's the singer seal. With the pockmarks.
Or what is my favorite one? Oh, some kind of worm. Some disgusting type of worm.
Fact or Faked and some of the Bio Channel or Travel Channel or like Monster Quest have done some great shows about this where they've shown footage that looks like a wake of something swimming.
Right, a ripple
and it
in the
turns
water.
out like a floating log or other things.
Which happens a lot.
From your perspective could make it look like something more than
Or just the natural undulations of the water, depending on where the sun is and how the shadow hits on it, can look like anything going through there. The best part is, now people they flock to the loch. I mean, all the time. There are people who have given up their lives, who live in like trailers around the loch, wherever they have to go, just to be there, so they're there all the time. And out of the pantheon of creatures out there that people talk about, the mythological creatures, the Loch Ness Monster, there must be something to it, because it's the only one that gets legitimate funding from universities to send actual scientific expeditions out to find it.
How big is the loch?
The loch is enormous. I don't have the actual dimensions. You can look it up. Put it
We'll
on.
put it up on the thing, but
it's deep.
so it's not like you're going to a pond or a lake or something.
No, it is.
This is more like
It's enormous, and it's very muddy. It's very hard to see the bottom. It's ice cold. It has an outlet to the Atlantic Ocean, so it's not a closed-off body of water. So things can come in and out of there.
It is connected to the ocean.
Yeah, so things can fly in and out, which might explain why there's a preponderance of sightings, and then you don't see any for a long time. It's migrating, whatever it is.
So it's salt water?
Yeah. I wouldn't drink it. But to me, that's what's always, and even as a kid, I used to say, man, National Geographic they spend $1 million, $2 million sending people out there. Well, they're not doing it. And there's always, in every season, there's always a scientific expedition out there, so they're not spending money for the heck of it. They all don't get TV shows and movies out of it, so they're looking for something.
It feels like technology's got to catch up with that thing.
You know what? We know more about the moon than we know about the depths of our own ocean, so I think that we're still, because we look this way, we don't look this way, so I don't think we've invested the proper amount of time, money, and attention, unless we put James Cameron in charge of everything, and maybe he can do it.
Come on, Cameron.
I did want to bring up, since if you want to explore the monster, I found a couple of books. I read a book that's, to me, the definitive Loch Ness Monster book, and it's a fictionalized book. But the author, Steve Alton, he took actual hard science, and he threw out the whole concept, it's not going to be a dinosaur. That's just not possible. But he did come up with something that is so plausible that it made the book really creepy. It's called The Loch. And really, I saw it in a lark. I picked it up on a lark at the library. And let me tell you, that was, to me, out of all the Loch Ness Monster books I've read, which scarily is more than I should, that's the best one, and that's a fictionalized book. So if you can check that out. Also, I just read this one, Loch Ness by Donovan Galway. That's kind of an adventure thing.
The freaking body of work you've read in different topics is unbelievable.
Oh, God, now thanks to the Kindle, forget it. I'm like, chump, $2, I'll read it. And this was one of those where it starts out in Australia and tracking a monster all the way up to the loch.
Is it fictional again?
That's fictional, yes. There is one that you can read, The Loch Ness Monster, The Evidence. The Loch Ness Monster, The Evidence, yeah, by Steuart Campbell. That's from like the late 90s. You can pick that up, and that gives you the whole history and all the sightings and catalogs everything, and gives you, what it could possibly be. That's a cool book. Movies.
There was some animated one about the Loch Ness Monster was like a kids movie.
There was a Scooby-Doo Loch Ness Monster episode. The one I saw recently, Incident at Loch Ness, directed by Werner Herzog.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of like a mock documentary.
Oh.
It's you gotta watch it because it's creepy.
Is it a horror movie?
Yeah.
Because I was going to ask you that. It doesn't seem like you get reports of the Loch Ness Monster attacking people. It's just people see it.
Yeah, no, there's no real reports of it going
boats getting hit or people getting eaten.
Did you know that there's tons of reports of it being on land?
Oh, that would explain why they can't find it.
Yeah, especially in the 30s and 40s and 50s, people would see this thing like go across the road in the middle of the night as it was going back into the water.
Octopuses have done that.
Can octopus go out of water?
There's a case where octopus got out of the tank.
Oh, that would be freaky if you saw that.
So
there's also a lot of drinking that goes. I'm Irish, and I understand it's Scotland. So
but think about this: alligators and crocodiles are in and out of the water. So what if it's something like that, or a hippo, or a manatee?
To me, out of all like the types of creatures that are out there that people talk about, in cryptozoology, that's the sea serpents and the lake monsters. And there's lake monsters. Loch Ness is it's not the only one in Scotland, and we've got a ton here in America, Ogopogo and all those, Champlain. So they're everywhere. There's something to it. To me, that's the most plausible of all the monsters in cryptozoology.
Well, your statement about how much we don't know about the ocean, there's so many undiscovered species, and there are cases where they find like a giant alligator in the Everglades. It's like, holy crap, look at the size of that.
Right.
That is just so rare. Mm-hmm. But you occasionally come across them. Is that who knows if it's not just something like that?
Right. And we don't look as much down to the oceans and as we do other places. So,
well, even though the moon is a lot further away, it's one place. The ocean is
it's almost fathomless when you really think about it. It's incredible. And we don't have the technology to really go as deep as we'd like to go. You got to build that. If we build it, we will find it. But I just think it's really cool. Other movies, the Loch Ness Horror.
I've never even heard of this.
That was like from 1980, 81 or something like that.
I tell you, Monster Quest in search of, like,
I was going to say
documentaries about the Loch Ness Monster is like all I ever. That's my experience with him and Jimmy Page.
Well, In Search of is what got us hooked on it. Monster Quest, I think they did maybe 1 or 2 episodes on the Loch Ness.
There's Monster Quest, and then there's like those other shows like that are like on the Travel Channel or Bio.
Yeah.
That'll, you'll be flipping one time it's the Bermuda Triangle, and the next time
searching for Loch Ness.
It's the 8-year-old's equivalent of In Search of for us.
Here's one. If you talk about 8-year-olds, the Water Horse.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, the water. Yeah, that was. I think Pierce Brosnan was in that.
Sure, it wasn't Dante's Peak.
Oh God, the Widow's Peak.
Save that for our volcano show.
So I mean, there's lots of things out there. If you just went on to Amazon and you just wanted to just immerse yourself in books and movies about Loch Ness, there's tons out there.
I'd be curious if anybody watching this has ever seen or thinks they saw a lake monster or the Loch Ness Monster, or if you have any photographic evidence you'd like to share with us, because this is one of those ones that there's bound to be people out there that...
yeah, especially if you live around the Great Lakes between the United States and Canada.
Like the Lake Champlain one.
Champy. They all have cute little names too. Which, why not? Give it a cute name, boost up tourism, and then the town stays afloat. There's worse ways to do it.
Now, what are you more scared of? Loch Ness Monster or the bull shark that can work its way up the freshwater?
I'm afraid of the bull shark. I'm not afraid of the Loch Ness Monster at all, especially here in New York.
Yeah.
In my landlocked
I'm more worried about the quality of the water.
Exactly.
The Long Island Sound and the Hudson River.
The Loch Ness Monster crapped in my drinking water.
So the Loch Ness Monster couldn't live around here.
No. Well, we'd mug her and
leave her syringes it would swim into would just kill it.
Getting sluggish. So, tons out there for the Loch Ness Monster.
That's more books than I ever even knew about for the Loch Ness Monster. So.
I could have gone on. I just tried to keep it to 3 books and a couple.
I want to see Loch Ness Monster versus Swamp Monsters.
Oh, that could be something in the works there. We never know.
Copyright.
So you know what? When you're out there, look down, take pictures of the water. If you see anything, you let us know. If there are things you want us to talk about specifically about the Loch Ness Monster in upcoming episodes,
let us know. It's a two-way conversation.
Yep.
In the meantime, you got me thinking about scotch, so let's go have scotch.
You got it.
All right.
See you later, laddies and lassies.
Yeah. I'm Monster Man.
I don't know get her. Hurdy.
Grr, arg.